Hello, welcome to the 10th edition of Y.A.P About Politics. I'm Isabel Dickmeyer. So, first starting off this week, I want to say that I took a break last week because my father is finally building me my treehouse, and I am just so excited that I wanted to spend as much time as I could outside helping him build it. And I just felt so lucky to be able to have this huge big treehouse that I could spend time in. And then all of a sudden I realized that there are kids in Syria whose houses are being blown up. Not their tree houses, but their houses. And get this, they've been being blown up for 7 years. So just think about that. Imagine what that looks like. There's rubble everywhere. Like, picture your neighborhood right now. Now just picture it like there's concrete everywhere. Houses are like halfway torn off, like the fronts of it are just ripped off and there's no roofs anymore. Just think about that. That's what that looks like over in Syria. So Syria is a country in the Middle East. Its neighbors are Turkey, Iran, and Jordan. So Bashar al-Assad is the leader of Syria, and when his father died, Assad became leader, and he's been leader ever since. So Assad has been fighting against his own people for years, and the Syrian rebels. So Mr. Assad happens to be very close friends with Russia and Iran. He is also helping out ISIS by giving them protection and help. So Bashar al-Assad is a very bad man. So practically, if you don't agree with him, he will kill you. So over 400,000 people have died, and millions have fled the country because of him. He's even used poisonous gases on his own people, and it is believed that the gas used was sarin. Now, sarin is a really, really bad chemical weapon. It's a gas that affects the nervous system, like the nerves in your body. Some of the symptoms were reported, such as loss of consciousness, convulsions, paralysis, and respiratory failure, possibly leading to death. That's pretty drastic. So remember, this chemical was used on little kids, like 5 to 6 year olds, really, really young kids. So I bet right now you're thinking, why does this possibly matter to you? I mean, it's not happening here. It's all the way over there. This isn't my problem. Well, put yourself in their shoes. You're a Syrian kid, and your neighborhood is being bombed and with chemical weapons. Your parents, your friends, your neighbors have all been gassed by the chemical weapons. And you can't go to a hospital because the hospitals are also being bombed as well. So you can't go there. And you can't go to a school because there aren't any schools. Don't you think you'd want somewhere safe to go and somebody to help you? So President Trump ordered 59 Tomahawk missiles to take out a Syrian air base where the plane took off that was carrying the poisonous gas in that attack. So this was a message to Assad to not use chemical weapons, and also to portray Trump as a strong and tough guy. So the problem was with that, that the 59 missiles didn't damage the airbase enough to stop that plane from taking off. If he really wanted to do damage to that airbase, he should have blown up the jets and the runway. So I have a few pictures here of the Syrian airbase. So here's one of them. So right here. This is the air base that was struck by the 59 Tomahawk missiles. And as you can see right here, these two piles of whatever they used to be, they were jets that were completely demolished by the missiles. And these arches right here, on both of them right here, these were used to protect the jets that they were sheltering from bombs that came down from the sky like this, not ones that were aiming. So the Tomahawk missiles were actually able to get inside there and blow up those jets. And as you can see, that obviously did a pretty good job. So I have another picture for you. Here's the other one. So this one, obviously you can see that something big blew up in there because of all this soot and the ashes and whatnot. But the thing that I really want you to pay attention here is the bottom of the picture right here. Okay, this is the runway. So obviously you can see that doesn't look like it was hit by a Tomahawk missile because it's completely clean. So the problem with this, the problem with what happened here, was planes and jets can still take off of here. Okay? They can still take off and board here. So really, that doesn't stop planes from just coming in, loading up with more chemical weapons, and then taking off again. So like I said before, if he really wanted to do damage, he should have blown up the runway, because there's no possible way that any plane could take off from there if the runway was completely demolished. All right. So President Obama gave a warning to Syria, saying that if Assad used chemical weapons on his own people, that there would be military consequences. So that's also known as the Red Line. So Assad had now crossed that line. In 2013, 1,400 civilians were killed by a gas attack from the Syrian government. So Obama asked Congress for approval to use military force, but Congress wouldn't even vote on it. Wouldn't even give it a second glance. And now, Trump is blaming Obama for being too weak. And it wasn't even Obama's fault that he couldn't use military force, because Congress wouldn't even look at it. It's not his fault. So Trump has, on multiple occasions, mostly Twitter by the way, in the past stated that we should not go into Syria and that we should concentrate on issues at home. And now all of a sudden he launches 59 Tomahawk missiles without approval. I mean, Mr. Trump, you're confusing me. You can't have it both ways. Which is it, in or out? I mean, don't get me wrong. There is no clear solution to this problem. However, military force is not always the right thing. So in the school that I go to, we talk about how standing up to bullies and making sure that bullying is a thing of the past. So if you have a group of 8th graders that are bullying this group of 6th graders, they're like flipping their lunch trays and shoving them and whatnot, don't you think that you'd want to help out that group of 6th graders? So that's like the world right now. The United Nations needs to stand up and help out the United States with the problem that's going on in Syria right now. So it is not okay for people to be killed. But it is also not okay for the U.S. to be the only one that stands up. The entire world needs to. Everyone. Every single person. So I have a message for you, Mr. Trump. Are you going to be the person who's going to bring the world together? So, on a sunnier note, look for my next episode to be broadcasted from the beaches of Florida, which is a perfect spot to discuss the changes to the EPA, also known as the Environmental Protection Agency, and climate change. So before I go, I want to say if we pay attention, take action, and ask questions, we will get the world we want. Thanks, everybody. See you next week.